All right. Well, thank you to everyone we have joining us today. Today, you are here for the Next Job Empower Hour workshop. And today's topic will be 5 key job search strategies during the COVID-19 outbreak. Um, Really good content about how to continue to have a positive attitude and the confidence to move forward as we still manage our way through this pandemic. And from Next Job, we have Audrey Mcdonagh and Tammy Mullins. Please welcome them, and I'm going to pass the floor to you, ladies. Thank you so much for being here.
Hey, thank you, Bridget. Um, Sorry about that. Hi, everybody who's on the call. Thank you so much for being here. As Bridget said, this is our topic for today. My name is Audrey Mcdonagh, and I am a job coach with NextJob, and I also do some presentations like this. And then we have Tammy on the line, Tammy Mullen. You want to introduce yourself, Tammy?
Yeah, hi everyone. My name is Tammy Mullen, and I'm also from NextJob, and I am the Chief Marketing Officer with NextJob. So today I will be hanging out on the chat with you all and asking some questions of Audrey. Feel free to unmute yourself and ask a question, or if you want to ask a question through the chat, I'll make sure that I let Audrey know that it's there so we can answer it.
Great. Okay, so we're going to talk about some really important strategies for job searching during this time. And it is a difficult time, it's a challenging time, but the good news is that there are things that you can be doing right now that are going to be very effective, especially now, but even in any job search, these are strategies that are important. So we're going to share a lot of information with you. We're going to talk about employers that are hiring, and there are companies that are hiring. People are getting jobs. We're going to talk a little bit about networking, different kinds of work opportunities that you might think about looking into, the importance of making your resume stand out and really make you competitive in this time. And then a little bit about excelling at phone and video interviews, because right now we know that many companies are doing remote interviews. So that takes, that's kind of a whole nother level of preparation for an interview, right? So, and the things that you're going to see on some of these screens are screenshots from our NextJob website. And so today we're going to be sharing with you how you can have free access to our NextJob job search online training system that will walk you through every step of the way as to how you can employ some very effective strategies and create a great job search campaign for yourself. So the job market right now it's not great, but there still are jobs. We know that we've had several million layoffs, and many of those are short term, and employers are hoping to hire back. We're just in this kind of a little bit of a holding pattern right now, but this isn't forever. During the last recession, we had 45 million hires. And at the end of January 2020, this year, we had more jobs than we had unemployed. And so we were in pretty good shape in January. And then, we had this pandemic come and things are kind of upside down right now. But this is still a very important time to keep your job search moving forward. So some things that you want to think about in terms of job searching right now is that you're flexible and adaptable. Are you willing to maybe expand the location? Are you willing to maybe commute a little bit more if you're a commuter? Maybe a job that you had before isn't available right now. So maybe you have to think about pivoting to a different job, and then you need to be able to identify your transferable skills and your strengths to show that even though you had a different job before, you have the skills and the strengths to do something different. Your skills can transfer from one job to another. Your skills and your strengths always go with you wherever you go. And we have something at NextJob we call the ABC approach. So A is a job. Sometimes you just need a job. You need an income. And that may not be the ideal job, but right now it's a job that you're qualified for and you can do and you get paid for it. The B job is a better job. Maybe it's a little better than the A job. It's closer to where you want to be. And then the C approach is that career job, and that's the job you really want. And so you may be in an A or B or a C kind of place, and you just need to, start where you are and just know that you are on a journey. It's a progression, and you're just on one step of the journey, and there's other things that you can move towards if you want to. So sometimes people wonder, well, what if I'm overqualified? There are ways to sort of work with your resume to cover why part of your work experience can still apply to a job you may be overqualified for. There are ways to sort of navigate that. So it's possible to do that. One thing I want to say too, that this is something I always have all of my job seekers do as a coach. So we have a personality assessment. You can kind of see that right here. And this is a great way to assess yourself and really learn more about your strengths and your characteristics and what kind of jobs could be a very good fit for you. So we really invite you to take that personality assessment when you register in the NextJob website, because it's going to help you a lot to think about this process of what would be a good fit for you, what might even be a career job for you. Sometimes people, I find this a lot when I work with job seekers, and maybe you all have felt like this, where it's hard to talk about yourself, it's hard to describe your strengths. And if you're somebody that has that feeling where it's a struggle for you to do that, this personality assessment can really help you to identify those strengths, put them in your resume, use them to describe yourself. So where are we going to find these employers? We've got the job boards, and those are good places to find out where people are hiring, what companies and what industries are looking for people. And we know this from recruiters that there are companies still looking for folks to fill positions. So you want to do some good research. You want to set up and automate leads from the different job boards. I think one of the best ones is Indeed. And actually on our website, we have a direct link in place to the Indeed job board. So you can kind of do everything all in one place in the NextJob system. LinkedIn, powerful place to be. It's a powerful research tool, and it's all related to business and employment. So it's great to have a LinkedIn profile. You can do the same thing on Google. Craigslist, I'm not a huge fan of Craigslist, but there are jobs that can be found there too. You just have to use a little extra caution. And then don't forget that we have city, state, county, and federal government job boards. And so that's another place that you can use to research what's going on out there. And then looking for industries that are active. So right now we have employers who have hired 100 million people who are working right now. Amazon has been hiring for a while. They were looking for 100,000 employees. Manufacturing companies who have shifted part of their manufacturing to healthcare supplies that have been needed during the pandemic. So those people are hiring. Grocery chains, drug stores, and especially online learning and remote work firms. There's a lot of that out there, and we'll show you some places you can go look for that. One of our very important partners, Fifth Third Bank, has opportunities right now. And so if you go to 53.com/careers, you can see what kind of jobs Fifth Third has available and is recruiting actively for. So this is how you will register in the NextJob training website. You're going to see a screen that looks like this. It asks you for an access code right there. Then you're going to put your email address in and create and save a password. So let's show you how to do that. So if you want to get your phones out right now, or if you have a laptop or a computer handy with internet access, you would go to nextjobtraining.com. You would type in this access code right here. And the other thing that you can do together with registering with our website is you can receive a 2-month scholarship with a professional job coach who works at NextJob by emailing to 53workforcedevelopment@nextjob.com. And when we receive that email from you, somebody will find a coach and match you up with that coach, and you'll have somebody that will work with you one-to-one. You'll create a schedule with your coach. Maybe it'll be once a week or once every other week or every 10 days. And that person will really focus on you and your goals and walk you through all the different steps of getting yourself set up for success in your job search. Excuse me, I just had to take a sip of water. So, networking online to find hidden jobs. So we call this the hidden job market. And the hidden job market means that there are jobs that aren't even advertised. And the way that you find those jobs is through connecting with others. And we know that the hidden job market is about 60% of all jobs right now. So that's where the importance, especially during the pandemic, comes in of using some other strategies to find out where the jobs are. So you want to set some targets, meaning you want to identify companies that you're interested in and that you might want to work for. Well, some of those companies may be on pause. They may not be hiring right now. That doesn't mean that they won't in the future. So you can set up Google alerts every time something pops up from that company. So you can kind of keep an alert going to see what's going on with that company you're interested in. One of the most important online networking tools is LinkedIn. So you want to have a good profile. You want to have some keywords in there about what you do, what your experience is, so that people can find you. It's important to know that recruiters are actively on LinkedIn looking for people. It's a great way you can connect with others who are doing the kind of work or in the kind of industry that you are interested in, and looking for ways that you can get more information about an industry, a company. Look for people that are doing some things you might be interested in doing. See if you can connect with them, learn from them. See if you can connect and have a 10-minute phone conversation as not to say, hey, I need a job, can you get me a job, but to like an informational interview. What do you like about your job? Do you enjoy the company that you work for? What's the most important thing that you value about your work in this field? Something like that. Facebook friends are always good to connect with, and just let them know you're looking for work and let them know what kind of work you're looking for. Don't be afraid to reach out to your friends, your family, and the people that you know and that you're in touch with on a regular basis. You want them to know because they care about you and they might want to help you. And then what we call strategic volunteering. It's a little harder to volunteer right now because of the social distancing, but there may be some opportunities in your community. So for example, I know a group that goes and they help a food bank, they help sort groceries. The organization has set up where people can come in, they can wear a mask, and they can be socially distant. But volunteering is a great way to meet people and get to know people and build the network that you have. And it's also, fulfilling to do some good work if you can during this time. It kind of helps you as well as helps someone else. So just remember to think about networking and how you can build that network. Think about who you already know and use some of these online tools to develop your networking. So again, we're going to go back to, just a reminder, nextjobtraining.com. Here's your access code. You put the code in, then you put your email address, you create and save a password, and you have access to all the online resources. And then to get your scholarship, you're going to email to 53workforcedevelopment@nextjob.com, and you'll get matched with your own job coach. So remote and short-term opportunities. This is another important place to look for work. A lot of us are home anyway, and a lot of people are working for their companies from home. 43% or higher are working remotely with some frequency. So maybe they're working 4 days a week at home and 1 day a week in a facility, and the workers sort of take turns as to who goes in. But there's plenty of remote work out there. In fact, 2 days ago, I got an email that was sharing about a job fair that was for online work. Job fairs are another great place to find these sort of jobs. So some jobs that you may find in the remote or freelance area: writing, insurance, IT, call centers. You've got a whole list there of different things that you can do as a remote worker. So if you have the technology and you have the skills, that can be a great resource for finding work. A new thing that we have going now is, how when you are on a job board, they'll ask you for a location. So now sites like LinkedIn and Google, you can set your location as remote or work from home. Or you might try telecommute online, something like that. These are some legitimate and good websites to find remote work. I like Rat Race Rebellion, even though I'm not working, not looking for a job right now. I think that they do a lot of good postings, and they've always got something current, and they put out job opportunities almost daily. So any of these are good resources for finding these opportunities. Some people are looking at freelance opportunities, or what they call gig work, where somebody may be hiring somebody for, a 6-week contract to do a certain project or some kind of work. Take a look at those. Maybe that could be a good fit. And then, when you're on these job boards looking for work, of course, you want to look out for the scammers. They're out there. Just be very aware if they're asking you for money, or if they're saying that you're going to make, so much money. It's hard to believe. It's, probably not true. So just really vet the approaches that you get, and research the company, Google for complaints, do your homework. If you feel like there's something not right, there probably is. So remember that ABCs of job progression: a job, a better job, and a career job, or the job you want. And be thinking long term, over the next 6 to 18 months. And maybe some of these short-term or remote or gig kind of jobs can open a path for you to get something full-time, or to develop experience, and of course keep developing your network. I had a really good coworker who was working with a temp agency, it was through a recruiter, and she was hired as a receptionist for the organization I work for. But she was so great, and her personality was awesome, and she did such a good job that a position opened up, and she wound up getting hired as, full-time with benefits. So you put yourself out there and see what happens. Just explore all the different options that there are, and then you've got some different choices. You've got some different ways to go that can ultimately lead you to where you want to be. There's a really good website you might want to check out that's called themuse.com, and it is a great site for career development and progression. And that's kind of that long-term, when you're in this long-term kind of mode looking for that career job, themuse.com is a nice website to help you out with that. Learning new skills. This is very important during the pandemic and during this time. So if you have been out of work for a while, or even if it hasn't been that long, you want to think about, what are some new things I can learn? How can I grow? How can I develop my skill set? Maybe, you know, you've been wanting to improve your Excel spreadsheet skill level. There are ways that you can find even free training. LinkedIn has a LinkedIn training where you can take some courses and get certificates, and those are free. So keep looking for ways to grow, improve, and keep current with the world of work and the industry that you're in. Read articles on LinkedIn. Join groups on LinkedIn that have to do with the kind of work you do, because they will often share articles about what's happening in the industry, who's hiring. So lots of great places to go and get those skills and keep that learning and that knowledge going. So if you haven't registered yet for NextJob, you want to go to nextjobtraining.com, enter this access code right here, apply for a scholarship by emailing Fifth Third Workforce Development at nextjob.com. So next important strategy we need to talk about is the resume. So I tell my job seekers, your resume is basically your advertising flyer. It's your marketing tool. And so you want it to be a really great representation of who you are, what you've done, what your skills are, and where you want to go in your career. And so an employer is going to use a resume. If an employer, let's say, is going to get 100 resumes, their first goal is to weed out as many unqualified applicants as they can. And so you want your resume to sell you as a solution to what the employer really needs and wants for a particular position. And so that means paying good attention to the job posting. What are they saying the qualifications are? How are they describing what the job involves? And then if you're a fit and you have those qualifications, you want to make sure that your resume is demonstrating that you do have those skills. And so your resume should not be reading like a job description, because a job description is basically what anybody would have to do in a certain job. You want your resume to show the kind of things that tell a person, you know, what problems did you solve? How did you use your strengths to be very good in that job and to achieve results and make an impact in the work that you did? What were you great at in your past jobs? So the different parts of a really impactful or strong resume, you want to format it well. It needs to look clean and nice and read well. You want to hook the reader by having an impactful resume. And so we know that when somebody looks at your resume, they give you about a 10 to 20 second scan from top to bottom. They're in a hurry. They want to get through these resumes fast, and they want to toss the ones that don't fit, and they want to look for those ones that look like they could be a good match. So you want to have an impactful resume. And like I was saying before, don't just focus on duties or responsibilities. They're important, but also focus on impact, and that's going to help you really stand out. Okay, so thinking about formatting, you want to have wide margins, clear, bold type headings that are going to guide the person's eyes as they're scanning from top to bottom. since we have many companies, I think it's 90% of businesses are using electronic scanning. So there's a computer scanning your resume before a human being sees it, right? So you want to avoid columns in white font when you're applying online, because the columns could get scrambled, the white font will show up, and your resume is not going to make it through. Instead of using paragraphs, I still see a lot of people who will, give me their resume and they're in paragraphs. So instead of paragraphs, you want to use bullet points. So make it nice, neat, concise, and easy for a person to follow along and read. Don't use all caps, and 1 to 2 pages is standard. So a lot of times people think they have to have a 1-page resume. You don't. You can have a 2-page resume as long as your content is really solid. That's the most important thing, that you are selling yourself and you are branding yourself and being, really making yourself stand out from the competition. So I know I've been talking a lot, and if anybody has a question or anything they want to share, either by chat or speaking in, please feel free. Okay, I'll just keep going. So I just said, help you stand out from the crowd or the competition. So one way to do that from the beginning is you want to hook the person who's looking at your resume with a nice 3 to 4 sentence summary that kind of briefly describes your industry experience, job direction you're targeting, the skills and personal character traits or qualities that you offer, and who your work affects. Who do you impact? So one way to think about branding is what do you want to be known for? And then think about what do you know that you do very well and consistently? What do other people go to you for? That can kind of help you think about, what's my brand? How do I stand out? Think, how do I make a difference? Maybe it's customer service. Maybe you're somebody that is known for really diffusing, conflict situations with customers. Maybe you're known for being super organized and for problem solving. And think about, what are some ways I've demonstrated those strengths or character traits in the work that I've done to help you really bring out some specific and impactful bullet points in your resume. And we're going to talk a little bit about keywords. If you're not familiar with that term, keywords come from job postings. And so when you look at job postings, they'll talk a lot about what are the qualifications they're looking for. What are the words they're using to describe the position. And those are, you want to infuse keywords from these job postings into your resume, maybe into your summary, your bullet points, kind of throughout the resume. So here's an example. And you can do all this, by the way, in our NextJob website. We have something called Resume Builder, and it will help you go through step by step to create a really impactful resume like this. You may already have a resume, may be really good. Maybe it could just use a little tweaking, or maybe you want to build your resume from scratch. You can do that in our website in the Resume Builder. So here's an example of a headline or branding statement, however you want to call it. So this one is sales leader, innovator, new business development, delivering customer value through business and technology alignment. So that's kind of a, that grabs my attention. It's very strong, it's very specific, and it focuses on skills and the value that this person has to offer a company who would hire them. And here's an example of a summary that we spoke about, that 2 or 3 sentences where you're going to describe your experience, your character, how you show up in the workplace. So delivering 11+ years of exceptional customer service in financial and consumer credit industry. So identify the industry, the career path, recognize for creating a positive customer experience and creating process efficiencies that streamline data gathering and management. Tapped as the go-to problem solver for escalated customer service issues. So this person has their experience in here. They have the target position, the personal qualities, positive, able to streamline data, and it really says how this person makes things better, how they make an impact. So going back to this idea of not only talking about your work experience, but the accomplishments that you have been able to make in your job that went beyond just the basic duties of a job description. So they tell more about the kind of value that you offer. And you want to have accomplishments or impact kind of highlighted throughout the resume. You want it in your summary. You want it in, we use something called Testimonials that we build right into the resume. It's really effective. You know, you want to think about highlights from the job description. If you've ever received an award from your company or from your peers, anything like that. Any volunteer work where you had an accomplishment. Think about all the things that you've done that you feel really good about. You look back at and you're like, yeah, I did that well. We all have them, no matter what kind of job you have. So here we are with the keywords again. And I was right, it's 90% of companies use the ATS to search for qualified candidates. So you want to make sure you got those keywords in there. We call that keyword optimization. You want those words in your list of strengths, your headline, your summary, all throughout the resume. You want to be infusing those keywords. So talking about skills, I want to think about how you can really leverage those skills in your resume. And there's some great examples here. So let's say in the job posting, they say that one of the things they're looking for is somebody who's good communication. And so then, you know, you think about, okay, am I a good communicator and how have I demonstrated that? Here's some examples of, written communication, writing reports, presenting data, facilitating meetings. Maybe it's communicating verbally with customers. Maybe it's being able to co-train or train peers when they come in new. Lots of different examples of communication. So think, you know, you would think about if this is one of the skills in the job posting, and I say write it down, write all these things down because it's going to help you a lot. Think of examples where you have performed well in each of these skills. Interpersonal skills is a big one. Some people think this sometimes is at the top of the list. People want somebody that are relationship builders, they're discreet, they keep confidence, they're compassionate. That's something to think about too, not just the technical skills, but what we call soft skills or interpersonal skills. Okay, so going back to the job posting, you want to be aware of the title and look at it and say, okay, is this an exact match for what I'm looking for or not? So this is an example of somebody who has been an administrative assistant, but they really want project coordinator kind of work. So both of these kind of jobs focus on these two skills. Being good with efficiencies in managing multiple projects or multiple priorities. When lots of things going on, you're good at juggling those things and managing and organizing them. So they give the example of, have you saved companies time and money? Did you make buying, processing, or reporting more efficient? Did you make someone else's job easier? So we have a good example here where, okay, the company's filing system was disorganized and inefficient. And you take the initiative to say, hey, we could make this better. You revamp it, you automate it, analyze, reorganize data, make coworkers' jobs easier, save team time and money. And this is something that you can actually write out for yourself. So we call this the STAR approach. So you think about a situation where there was some issue, there was something you saw that could be better. What action did you take? What are some of the tasks that you had to do? And then what was the result? And this is a way that you can create impactful bullet points. And so if you look here at the bottom, this is how they took this information and put it into a bullet point that says impact, that shows somebody's skill. Streamlined, automated, reorganized this file system, made it easier and faster, saved team time and money. There's a impactful, solid bullet point. Okay, so Tammy, how are we doing on time? And any questions at this point? Okay, I'll just keep going.
I don't have a question, but I do want to say I appreciate your last point. The bullet points in my resume, I have not looked at each one to make sure that they are all stars.
Yeah, it takes some time to do it, and thank you for sharing that. Really appreciate it. But that STAR, you can kind of write that down and remind yourself, okay, what were some situations? What were some tasks I did? What action did I take? And then what was the result? Problem solved. Sometimes it could be, there could be a dollar amount, or sometimes it's just a qualitative example of impact. So we have a checklist. This is the NextJob resume checklist. You want to make sure all these elements are in your resume. Definitely want to have a skills section. And we use personal interests because that tells a little bit more about somebody. And believe it or not, employers are interested in that. It kind of presents more of like a holistic picture of somebody. And you don't have to go too deep with those interests, but whatever it is, maybe it's reading on a certain topic, or movies, or sports, or family, or using some other creative skills in your personal life. And when you get in an interview, it's possible that someone who interviews you could be a way to like kind of find common ground or break the ice. Maybe that person who's interviewing you has some of the same interests. So we use that too. So the guidelines, it has to be honest, factual, and sincere. It should be totally authentic. No repetitive wording. This is a tricky one. Sometimes I'll see resumes and people will use like develop, or created. So you want to make sure you're not repeating words. I usually get, I go to an online thesaurus and I type in a word and I look for different variations of that word, because if people see too much repetition, it's boring. They're just gonna fluff over your resume. Keep it tight. If there's any fluff or extra things in there that don't really tell anybody anything specific, just really have somebody proofread your resume. That's really important. Make sure at least 2 other people see your resume. Make sure you got those keywords in there. Just be descriptive and specific. Watch out for that ATS friendly stuff. Make sure that it's going to be able to go through an electronic scanning easily. And of course, this is the common one, grammar and spelling. People really, sometimes people think that's picky, but you don't want your resume eliminated for just a silly mistake or an oversight. And again, get back to that quantifiable results, that impact. Okay, is anybody else? I saw some chats. I don't know if anybody has a question or comment. Again, feel free. Okay, so this is a big one. Preparing for phone and video interviews. A lot of interviews now are remote. So some things to think about if you put an application out there and you're contacted for an interview, a phone screen or a phone call. Don't accept an interview on the spot. You know, make sure that it's scheduled. Don't do it at a moment's notice because you're not going to be ready. You might get flustered. You want to be in a good place as you prepare. So when that resume comes up, you know, you're not distracted. You want to be, you know, calm, have your resume out, your references, maybe have a notepad by your side so you can take notes. You want to have a smile. I always tell people, smile with your voice. Even if, let's say it's a phone interview, when you smile, you're going to project that smile through your voice. That's really important. You want to speak clearly, concisely, not too fast, not too slow. You kind of want to keep your energy at a good moderate level. And we always say speak half the time and listen half the time. A lot of an interview is about listening. You want to really hear what they say. You want to be very clear and sure of what the question is, what they're asking you, and you don't want to over talk. So use that 50-50 guideline. When you wrap up, if you're interested in that job, tell the interviewer you're interested. Let them know. I always say really show enthusiasm, because if someone's going to hire you, they want to know that you don't just want any job, you want the job they have. They want to see that enthusiasm, or they want to hear it in your voice. Take notes while you're in the interview. That's perfectly acceptable to be having a notepad, take notes. And that way too, you can get some questions ready for the next interview if you're asked to come to one. So for video interviews, you want to be thinking about your appearance, and that means dress as though it's an in-person interview. Dress just like you are walking into somebody's office and you're interviewing on the spot. Make sure your background is nice or clear. Don't have a lot of clutter behind you. And of course, test your technology out ahead of time. On our website, on the NextJob training site, we have a way that you can do a mock interview and videotape yourself. And that's so helpful because you can practice using that tool. You can see how you look, see how you come across. And then if you don't like what you just videotaped, you delete it, and you can practice as many times as you want. So when you get in the moment, let's say you actually have a video interview coming up, you've already practiced, you know your body language, you know that how to make eye contact through video, and all of that. You've got your posture looking good, so you're going to present well in that video. So here we go, nextjobtraining.com. There's your access code. You can get a scholarship by emailing 53workforcedevelopment@nextjob.com. And that
Hi, Audrey.
Yeah.
Hi, can you hear me? I had myself on mute to say things. And I finally figured out that you couldn't hear me. But we also had a little glitch behind the scenes with the access code, which is corrected now. So thank you so much, Rogan, for pointing that out. We do have that corrected. And we already have Rogan and Ruth who have claimed scholarships. So yeah, so that as well. So I'm sorry, Audrey, that I've kind of left you alone, but thank you.
I was wondering where you are because I asked, I said, Tammy? And
that's when I realized you couldn't hear me.
Okay, well, sorry about the flub up with the access code. I don't know what it was, but I'm glad somebody caught it. And so I want to make sure that you see the screenshot here of the website. So all these categories in this blue bar are different sections that are going to be accessible to you. So you can create a resume in here. You can practice for an interview. You can try that interview tool we have where you record yourself and do a mock interview. All kinds of good stuff in here. And so for those two of you who have a coach or going to have a coach, your coach can walk you through any of these sections or focus on the things that are really important to you, what your goals are. Maybe it's an interview, maybe it's you got an interview coming up and you want to help practice for it. You want to make your resume stronger. You've got all these tools that you can use in between the time you meet with your coach. So, okay, let's see. I think we're kind of at the end. So this would be a good time for questions or takeaways or anything you want to share.
Feel free to unmute yourself if you have a question. There's a lot of content coming your way, or chat in if you have a question. And then I think we are definitely, Bridget is going to make sure that everyone receives a copy of the slides, so you'll have those. And then for those of you that did claim a scholarship, you are going to be able to cover any of this content you wish with your coach. So thank you.
So what happened with the access code? Was it the wrong code?
No, somehow it was disabled in the background, but I got technology on the phone and they got it corrected, so it should be good.
I love people who can solve technology problems. That's awesome. Okay, well, Bridget, did you have anything?
No, I'm on mute. No, I didn't have any other questions.
Okay.
Just thank you so much for your time and sharing all the good information with the ladies. Congratulations on those that have already obtained the scholarship.
Yeah, we're really excited about that. And
then if there's anyone listening, if there's anyone that's listening through Facebook Live and would like to obtain a scholarship, we have that email address that you can access. And I'm sure if you contacted Dress for Success, Bridget, you'd be able to get them that information as well, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Fantastic.
Well,
Okay.
I'll just mention the last slide. These are some great resources for anybody. We know that we're in a high stress environment and, you know, people are under a lot of pressure. We're in this crazy time. And so these are just some good resources for you for, I like this because this is about online learning classes. Some are free. Tips for stress, staying healthy, feeling good, and keeping that growth and positive mindset going while you're in this time. And just thank y'all for being here today.
Yes, thank you all.
Thank you.
Do you ladies have any questions?
No, not as long as the material. We can reference it later.
Okay, yes.
Okay, well, great. Thank you, and good luck going forward to everybody on the call.
And ladies,
Yeah, thanks, Bridget.
oh, you're so welcome. I just wanted to remind you ladies that our Fill-A-Bag sale is going down this weekend, Saturday from, I believe, 9 to 3, and on Sunday from 11 to 3. So you can pre-register your shopping time, or you can just hop in the line and enter the sale. You can purchase one bag for $30 or two for $50. And also a reminder, it is Skill Up September. Definitely skill up with NextJob. And then you also have an opportunity to skill up with Dress for Success Columbus, where you can get a coach for 1 to 2 hours. However, throughout the month of September, you'll earn a $25 gift card for your participation. So again, anyone here or anyone listening, if you are interested not only in Next Jobs, but also in interviewing for Success or the bag sale, please reach out to me by email or give me a call.
That's awesome.
Yes. I love the sale. Such a good way to gather blazers and some of those high-end items that we need in the workplace.
Mm-hmm.
Well, thank you, Tammy. Thank you, Audrey, so much for your time. I will definitely get out the information to the ladies who are here with us right now, and any other ladies listening that would like to receive it. You can drop it in the video. I believe there's a chat that goes along with the live video, so you can make that request there or reach out to me by email. Anyone
Thanks,
else?
everybody.
Yes, thank you. Anyone else have any last parting words? Well, cheers to the weekend. It should be nice. I think there's a little rain coming, but it won't be 1,000 degrees.
That's a good thing. All right, I'm going to say goodbye to all and thank you again so much. Bye-bye now.
Yes, thank you, everyone on the call. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.